Hi everyone, this is Vivek, co-founder of Legalight, and today we have Aadya Singh, one of the toppers of CLAT 2020. So congratulations Aadya.
Thank you.
So how are you feeling right now?
I mean, it's like a dream come true. It's fantastic. It's unexpected, but it feels so damn special.
So when you started preparing, did you think about this?
No, like it was a dream indeed. I had these posters of LLS everywhere in my room. I had that AIR1 logo in my room.
Okay.
But that is a dream. Like everyone dreams. Whosoever starts the preparation, they dream of this. But I was not very sure, obviously, that I'll get this kind of rank.
So was the entire journey easy for you?
Of course not. Like it was full of hustle and tussle. It was a roller coaster ride. But definitely it was worth it.
So take us to the entire journey, like the moment when you got to know and you decided about pursuing law, and since then, like take us to the various stages of the entire journey that you had till now.
So initially I wanted to become an astronomer, but in the due course of time I realized that I am a very opinionated person. So I got a thought process about every socio-economic issues that are prevailing in the society. And I wanted to do something to eliminate and to curb such kind of evils.
Evils, okay.
Right, but I was not sure what is the path that would lead me to, accomplish my dreams. And that's when...
So you had this purpose,
yeah.
You had this end goal, but you needed a perfect means to achieve that end goal.
True, yeah.
Okay.
So I did a lot of research and I landed upon CLAT.
Okay.
And so it was entirely new for me because most of the people, especially here in Bihar, haven't even heard what is CLAT.
Yeah, definitely. It's a new stream.
It was a very new stream for me. Now my main challenge was to, confront about this to my parents.
Okay.
And also I had to make myself first of all comfortable with the new entire process that I was about to go through.
Okay.
So I called my dad. I was like, this is something which I want to pursue.
Okay.
And he was very supportive. He was like, if you believe in it, go for it.
That's a very supportive parent.
Yeah, it is. So the process started. Like,
how did your mother feel when you told her, like one day you want to become a lawyer and join this profession?
so
How was her reaction?
Yeah, my mother personally didn't like this field. It was just because of that orthodoxical mindset.
Okay.
And also the stigma that lawyers are only meant to wear a black coat and sit with a typewriter, as you've seen in the movies.
Yes.
Yeah, so she didn't like it, but now that she knew that I am firm about it, she was very supportive. In fact, she is the one person who has been constantly with me throughout the process, in my ups, in my lows.
Okay. So, Aadya, after talking to your parents and having a very positive outlook from their side towards your chosen career, so what was the next step?
So my next step was to find a place which would help me to accomplish my dreams and which will help me to guide through the entire journey of CLAT 2020. So I did a few research and then I came upon, I selected 5 coaching centers here in Patna only, and then I had to choose one of them.
Okay, I'll stop you here. I'll ask you just one thing. Like you could have gone for other cities. You could have gone for big brands in big cities. Let's say like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, right? So why you chose to be in Bihar itself?
Yeah, so there were 2 main reasons behind this. First, I was a schooling student of class 12. I had my boards the same year. So it was not practically possible for me to get settled into some new city.
Okay.
And second was my personal opinion, which I believe firmly in, that it's not the city or the exposure that helps you to crack CLAT, it's your own personal abilities. So I trusted upon my caliber more than the atmosphere or the exposure any metropolitan provides.
So Aadya, can you please tell the audience which were those 5 coaching institutes that you really wanted to try it out and then finally settle for one to properly plan your journey towards CLAT? So which were those 5 coaching institutes?
So yeah, my first priority was the brand Career Launcher. Everyone knows about it.
Yeah, it has a brand name.
Yeah, it has a brand name. Then it was CLAT Gurukul.
It is one of the oldest.
Yeah, someone looks up to CLAT, they look up to Career Launcher eventually.
Yeah.
So it was Career Launcher, it was CLAT Edge, it was CLAT Gurukul, and my last option was Legalight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next, what happened?
So I ended
what was the entire process of you going to a particular coaching institute and then finally settling for one?
Yeah.
Are you understanding?
Yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of students goes through the entire process. Every single year, after you complete your boards or at a particular moment when you decide to go for a coaching institute, so what generally happens is that you do some sort of a research on the internet, or based on some friend's opinion, or based on some guardian's opinion, or some relative's opinion. But after that, you finally visit a coaching institute, and trust me, all of you who are listening to me right now, this is the most important stage of your preparation. This can make it, this can break it. So obviously, whenever you are at the stage of choosing, are you understanding? Ultimately, you are handling your entire career in the hands of one individual, right? Entire 1 year. 1 year of hardship, 1 year of everything you have inside your own self. So obviously that has to be somebody very responsible and someone who is genuinely interested in your life, in your story, right? So career nurture was one of them.
Yeah.
So next,
So I ended up visiting the places. So my experience at the 4 coaching centers was quite similar.
similar as in,
Like I was made to meet the receptionist.
okay,
And I was like taken through the entire process of the class, the schedule, what is the syllabus, who would teach you, what are the subjects, and the fees, of course.
okay,
But then here at Legalight, I was made to meet directly the mentors, and it was a 3-hour conversation.
3-hour conversation.
Yeah, it was a 3-hour
Okay.
conversation. And it was not just about the policies of the coaching or the fees or the syllabus. It was more like a mentoring session, it was a counseling session for me. And that's when I realized that if there's a place where I would like to devote my 1.5 year or 1 year at that time, it's Legalight.
it's Legalight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you finally decided, you have to go for Legalight. But again, you knew at that point of time that Legalight did not have that brand name that really so-called other people have. Right? Still, only due to the personal interaction with the mentors there, who were personally interested in your life and in your story, you decided to properly go for Legalight. Right? Now, once you have decided Legalight, right, what was the next step? Because again, like, there is one more thing that I believe that all the viewers would definitely like to know, because Aadya had 2 things to manage. Aadya had to manage her dream, her passion of joining law on one hand, and on the other hand, she had the responsibility of the society, or so-called proper societal norms that we have, that we need to also score a very good marks in boards, given the fact that she has been a very consistent and studious student throughout her career. Right? To take us to the entire journey, like how exactly was managing both of these 2 things.
So it was tough initially. Like I was confused as to what time
Because
to
there might be
work.
certain people who might be suggesting you
Yeah.
that okay, complete your boards first, after that take a break and then go for CLAT.
And isn't that the normalized way that people generally
Yeah.
focus first on CLAT, like first on their boards and
Yeah.
then the competitive exams?
Yeah.
But I was a person who thought that why not just try it? It might be possible that I may be able to go to both of the things. But it was indeed a challenge for me to like manage both on the same day. What I did was I was generally more inclined towards my CLAT preparation, and I gave less time to my boards, and it went on like for 4 to 5 months until when Professor Faizan Mustafa said that the pattern is going to completely change.
Okay, so when the pattern changed, now what next? What was your priority at that point of time? How did you feel when the
At that
pattern
time I
changed?
had no priority, to be honest. It was a setback, it was a shocker. I spent like 1 or 2 nights crying. I was completely shattered. I didn't know like what to do, whom to talk to. But then there was my teachers here at Legalight, the one person who stayed in my mind, and I ended up calling them. And then we again had a very long talk. We had counseling, we had morale booster sessions. And then I was again back on track. So I was like, even if there is a setback, let's not make it an excuse to give up on my dreams. And so I decided to maintain my journey, to work hard and to just not stop.
And to fight again.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what is the difference in the preparation strategy that was based in the old pattern in comparison to what we have right now in the new pattern?
So our pattern actually काफी different था. Like initial जो हम लोग का पुराना pattern था, all the 5 sections were completely different from each other. They had no relation to each other. But the new pattern was comparatively student friendly, more student friendly. It was easy as comparison. According to me, it was easy when compared to the past question types. And also there was a kind of similar skill requirements to tackle 3 main
The skill
sections.
set actually required for these
Yeah.
3 sections were
It was
similar.
kind of same, yeah.
And this is not new. Actually, a lot of people feel that the new pattern was actually easy for them. And the reason why they actually claim so is because of the fact that there is no mere memorization right now. You don't have to memorize a lot of things. But earlier pattern was based on rote learning. Let's just take 2 examples. Take the example of, let's say, English, and take the example of, let's say, GK. So when we take the example of English, so most of the questions that were earlier asked majorly focused on the vocabulary. Now when it comes to vocabulary, there is no length and breadth. Are you understanding? Even if you have read a lot of idioms and phrases, if you have gone through a lot of antonyms and synonyms, you properly cannot for certainly say that you will be able to answer this particular question when it comes in the exam. Right? Now in this pattern you have comprehension based. It's all about you understanding the passage, isn't it? So it's now easier. It's more about understanding than somebody just memorizing something and vomiting in the exam. Again, if you talk about, let's say, GK. So earlier GK was like 50 questions from 50 different topics, and all these 50 topics was made in such a way that you properly, they were one-liners, you properly need to just jot them down in your head and properly vomit it in the exam. On the other hand, again in this pattern, if you see, so there is a particular topic based on which there are 5 questions, and all these 5 questions are properly research oriented. So there is a skill set. So whenever I talk to students and whenever they ask me for this strategy, my strategy all the time is there has to be some skill set. So when it comes to the new pattern, English, logical, legal, they have one skill set. Again, you talk about maths, one skill set, logical, one skill set. So we properly evaluate the metrics of a student on the basis of the skill set that is required for this pattern, right? So what was that strategy?
Yeah, so we had a mantra here at Legalight that was called SU. S stood for strategize, U stood for understand, and E stood for experience. So we had to formulate a strategy for every section that we are going to tackle through. Then we had to understand in depth each and every concept that's going to come our way, and then we had to experience the entire set of questions.
Diverse set of questions, right?
Yeah.
Right. You need to get a lot of experience to the questions so as to be able to tackle it in the real exam-like situation. Right. So what was your strategy? A lot of people said, this pattern is only made for students of metropolitan cities. It would be favorable for these students. So what was your take on this opinion of the people?
I personally believe this metropolitan.
And was it like one of your motivations of pursuing law?
It indeed was. I believe it is a stigma and it needs to be broken. Like, what is up with these metropolitan city students that's not up with us? I think everyone is equal. It's all about your determination, it's all about your caliber. If you have that thing in it, no one can snatch it from you.
Exactly, it's about your own work ethic, right?
Yeah, so at that point of time, the problem was we didn't have enough materials in the market for the new pattern. And also at that same time, we had so many Telegram channels of various coaching centers which started to provide us with free materials. It indeed sounded too tempting, but then it created a kind of confusion in our minds that okay, we are getting these much materials from so many different centers, what to do next? So what I did was I took 2 days, I analyzed the materials, the GK, the box which they were providing on the Telegram channel, and eventually I realized that I need to stay stuck to the materials which was provided by my coaching, that is Legalight. And the more diverse will I go, it will lead to more confusion and it will be of least help. So I decided to completely rely on the materials and on the guidance provided by the teachers at Legalight.
So it roughly took CLAT consortium around 2 months for the actual sample paper to be available to the students. So in around mid-January we had our sample paper, and after a certain interval we had 3 sample papers. So after seeing a full-fledged 3 sample papers and a lot of change in the marking scheme, number of questions that we had, right? So what was your opinion by seeing the whole question paper?
So I was very patient. I went through each and every question of the sample paper. I critically analyzed it with the help of my teachers, and what we found was that the similar skill sets are required to tackle the 3 sections, and in fact the GK section is more based on the understanding of your concept and not on rote learning, which was indeed a benefit for me because I don't have that good memory skills. And maths was made more student friendly, it was based on statistics and all, which was more relevant in the field of CLAT, I feel. And it's not like arithmetics and all. You don't need to be really good at maths in order to solve that question.
So Aadya, I would like to ask you one question. See, the whole preparation was going on, but there has to be one point of time wherein you needed to ease out on your law prep and again properly concentrate upon your boards.
Yeah.
Right, because it was January and February. Right. So what happened then? Like, how did you decide it? And when did you decide, I need to, properly ease out a bit on law preparation and properly focus more and concentrate more on my boards preparation?
So it was in January when I had my pre-boards. So at that time, we actually had pre-planned this thing because it was eventually going to come up.
Yeah.
So we decided that my hours at Legalight physically would reduce, but my efforts won't. So we pre-planned this thing and we decided that I won't attend the classes regularly, but I'll come to collect the sheets. And जब भी कोई mock होगा, तो according to my flexibility of time, I'll just give a call to the teacher. I'll come and give the mock. I'll take the test. I used to attend all the sectional tests or the topic test which was conducted here. So it was.
So you used to periodically come. So how was Legalight? Was it student friendly?
It indeed was. Like they were the only one who gave me this idea that whenever you are comfortable to come here, come at that point of time. We will always be available. Like whenever you are free, you come here, you take the test.
Just don't give a pause to your preparation.
Yeah, exactly. And that was indeed a beneficial thing for me because had I given the pause that time, I don't think I would have been here right now. Also, there was one very significant thing that the teachers were constantly in my personal touch, be it through text or calls or video calls if it was needed at all. So I never felt like I'm not present at Legalight physically. I never missed this class exposure, class experience because my teachers always used to make me feel like your preparations are going on, your classes are going on. And it was very compatible with my board preparations and eventually I didn't have any problem to manage both. It was tough, but it was all determination that you needed.
Okay, that's very good. Aadya, in which month did you have your board exam?
I had boards in March.
In March?
Yeah, in March.
Right. And how did it go? And how did it go?
It went well. I knew it would somewhere range around 90 plus, so I got 92.
But again, it's very difficult. I definitely think that you aspire more and you're not happy about it. But definitely, since you had to manage both of these preparations, somehow it got affected. But I believe that 92% is definitely a very good score.
And moreover, I always knew that I had to subdue one thing in order to make something go above.
Something go above. But you need to properly choose and choose your priority properly what you need to concentrate upon and when. At what point of time you need to shift your priority to which of these following things. Right? Okay. So next, when was your last board exam?
It was on 13th of March.
13th of March. Okay. And on 21st of March, we all had this notification that due to global pandemic, all the coaching institutes and everything around India is closed. So how did you absorb that news? Was it very difficult for you to register since now was the time when you had to again shift your priority on law prep and properly accelerate the gear in order to properly catch up every single thing that you have lost in all these past months?
So it was a bit of relief at that moment because I had my exam on 24th of March also and eventually it got postponed too.
Okay.
So one side, the child within me was very excited. But now I was like that since we have no idea when that exam would be conducted, I need to start gearing up for my CLAT preparations because given the fact only 45 days or so was left for the exam. But this lockdown was an entirely new concept for me. I never experienced, no one in India, I guess, experienced such.
No one in the entire world has experienced something sort of this.
So it was something very new, very challenging. But life goes on. You cannot give up, you cannot step back. Now that you are at such crucial time and only 45 days are left for your dream to come true. So we had at Legalight here strategized a complete new formula. So we shifted to online classes. And the classes used to go on till 4 a.m. in the morning. We used to discuss about every single type of question that could possibly come in the CLAT paper, and the question types we derived from the sample papers that was provided by the CLAT consortium. So this online class concept went on for a few days. We didn't anticipate that this lockdown would extend so much.
For so long, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody did actually.
Yeah, obviously. So in a few weeks, Legalight came up with an entire new online course for all of us, and it was free for the students of Legalight.
Yeah.
So we got ourselves enrolled there, and it was, to be honest, that turning point in my life, which actually played a very, very crucial role in the marks that I got right now in my CLAT 2020 exam. So the masterclass was primarily based on the concept that one size doesn't fit all. So here at masterclass we had recorded sessions, we had live classes, we had sectional tests, mock tests, but apart from that we also had one-to-one video calls and one-to-one lecture sessions to personally clear every kind of confusion or doubt each of the student faces. So we got completely adapted to this new kind of education, and so yeah, that's it.
Okay, Aadya. So now I would like you to please tell the viewers ki what exactly was your section-wise strategy for this CLAT 2020 for each and every subject.
See, as I told before,
Like briefly discuss all of this.
So as I told before that English, legal and logical had similar requirement of skill sets, and my personal mantra was to read, comprehend and repeat. Like read as much materials you can lay your hands upon, and try to read online, because the exam at that point of time shifted to being online from paper pen test. So the strategy for English section was simply straight. Like you taught us to broadly divide the question sets that could possibly be asked into 5 major categories. That was like the main point of the central idea of the passage. To figure out the inference, the vocabulary based questions, the grammar questions and figure of speech. So similarly logical में हम लोगों को assumptions, arguments, parallel reasoning, inferential based questions and few topics of analytical reasoning like number series, puzzles or syllogisms. We were made to thoroughly understand the concepts, the basics behind all these type of questions.
The underlying concepts, and then again properly experience, but properly practice these questions.
Yeah, we had hundreds of questions on every type of possible questions. Then in the legal section, as we analyzed the sample paper, it was more or less based upon the current happenings worldwide. So we were preparing the legal aspect and the current affairs aspect together. So we were made to thoroughly analyze every single current affair topic, and we used to relate everything with a legal touch, like every kind of article.
And all the news items with a legal touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, the questions which came in CLAT 2020 paper, be it Article 20, absolute or strict liability, defamation, natural justice, we had done like hundreds of questions on these sets in the masterclass. And in fact, we had an open mock a few days ago before the CLAT, and a lot of questions on these topics, be it Vizag gas leak and all. It was like mentioned in that
already there.
Yeah, it was there. So in fact, the papers looked very familiar to us when the screen opened that day in the center.
Okay. And what was your strategy for quant section?
Yeah, so for quants, first of all, we were made to familiarize with all the kind of graphs, all the kind of statistics-based questions, the case-late based questions, which were given in the sample paper. And then we were made to practice like daily hundreds of questions on every kind of graph or every kind of case-late. We were made to learn the basic concepts that are required to solve the possible kind of graph which would come in the exam. And we were made to practice so much that we were even prepared for the worst case scenario. Like no matter how difficult the graph or the case set would be, we were in a position.
We would be able to solve it.
Yeah, we were in a position to at least score like 8 or 9 marks in that section.
In that section.
Yeah.
Okay. So Aadya, after that, so Aadya, your preparation was going very smoothly and everything was going very fine. But still, the CLAT exam was being postponed again and again and again. So how did that affect you?
Yeah, actually it didn't affect me. It was like most of the people looked it as an obstacle. I and my mentors told me to look this as an opportunity. So I took these postponements like more days to prepare better and better. And I didn't look at it at a negative point of view.
Okay. So Aadya, did you appear for LLAT?
Yeah, I did appear because my aim was to go to NLS Bangalore.
Okay.
And given the fact that that was the only way I could get into it, so I did appear for it.
You did appear for it?
Yeah.
And how much did you score in NLAT?
I scored 54.5, yeah.
54.5, okay. So after NLAT, did you appear for ELIT as well?
Yeah, I did appear for ELIT, but my primary concern was CLAT, and because there was so much pattern difference in both the examination, I ended up preparing only for CLAT and I left the preparation for IELTS.
Yeah, and this was true for a lot of students, because a lot of students till 2019, when they used to prepare for CLAT, they also used to prepare for ELIT as well. But in this year, since the pattern entirely changed for CLAT, it was actually very difficult for a student to properly prepare for CLAT as well as ELIT as well. So I told students to prudently choose and decide that which one of them do they think is their priority, and definitely for most of these students, obviously it should be CLAT because it has more number of colleges. So therefore, properly focus on one thing. If you will focus on two things at a time, and let's say if you don't have the capacity to manage both well, both of these exams would mess up. So better is to focus your entire energy and your entire effort on only one of these exams. Right?
Yeah, so it was in my mind that if I'm going to step on two both at one time, I would be likely to drop.
Yeah, somewhere or the other
take
down
that
the
risk.
line.
Yeah. So I wanted to be on safe side. So I finally decided that all my energy, all my time would completely be devoted to CLAT preparation.
Okay, so finally after your ELIT exam, the D-Day which you have been waiting for so long came. So what exactly was your mindset for D-Day? Like that day, how exactly do you have to execute the paper?
So there was a lot of nervousness, I won't lie. There was
Because all of the expectations, delay,
exactly.
postponement.
And that kind of anxiety that would I be able to perform? Will it be like according to my expectations? But then I had this one thing fixed in my mind that no matter how much preparation you did the entire year or 2 years for that matter for some people, it's just those 2 hours, the way you perform in those 2 hours will decide your destiny. And if anything the people would remember about you is what your score and what you did in that 2 hours. So I had to like fight up all the anxieties, I had to like shun all the expectations that people had from me, and I completely focused myself on the paper. I calmed myself down. I did some breathing exercises right before the exam started. I was like, no matter what's going on in your mind, no matter what happens, you have to just perform your level best on that day.
Okay, so once you entered the exam hall, you reached your exam center, you entered the exam hall, you went to your seat. The first question appeared in front of you. So what was your reaction and how did it all get finally executed that now that we are sitting and we know the score and everything. So let us through the entire 2 hours, how exactly did you feel from the first very question that appeared on the screen that day?
So I took initial 2 minutes to analyze the paper. I clicked on a question paper button. I went through the questions and to my surprise it looked very familiar. It was like there's no such paragraph or no such caselet based question or no that topic of GK asked which I was not familiar with. Though I did not know the answers of every question, but I was confident enough that this paper is within my approach and within my capabilities. So I started from GK section.
Okay.
And it took me around 15 minutes to complete the section.
Okay.
For most
Was
of
it
the
easy?
people, it was easy for me because like a majority of the questions was based on the compendiums which I received from Legalight. The questions matched, it boosted up my morale to another level.
Okay.
And then I headed towards the
Then a confident you properly proceeded to the next section. What was the next choice?
So next I headed towards quant section. The first 2 sets of questions were comparatively easier as per the third set. And so I started solving those questions and eventually like in span of like 10 to 12 minutes I was able to solve both the sets. But the third set was tricky. It made me confused. And I decided not to waste much of time there. I did a few random guesses, I did a few calculation work. And then without wasting any further time, I moved on to my legal section.
Next was the legal section.
Yeah, next was my legal section.
How was it?
So when I clicked on the legal section, the subject matter of all the passages were more or less based on the passages which were provided to us in the master classes. So I didn't have to struggle much to like analyze and to understand the concept of the passages. I was able to finish the section with much ease, with more confidence, and it ended up well. And then I switched to English section and the later one was logic.
Okay. So by the moment you completed the entire test, right, how did you feel?
So yeah, when the exam ended, I was happy, I was confident. I was really thankful to Legalight because it was their material, their hard work, which helped me to, like solve the complete paper with much more ease. But I obviously didn't know that I'll get some kind of rank. I didn't expect a rank as such, but I was confident that I'll make it to top 3 colleges. And then it was all.
Then here you are.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the moment, right?
Yeah.
This is the moment which you have been waiting since like 1 year. All the hard work, all the determination,
All the sleepless nights.
all the sleepless nights, right? So it all was worth it, right? In the end. So that everyone watching you right now and everyone drawing inspiration from your struggle and your success story would definitely like to know that what exactly they should do for next year. That is CLAT 2021, since only 6 months are left for their exam.
So my success mantra was self-belief in the first place. And as I told earlier, find opportunities in every obstacle that comes your way. There would be many times when you would end up crying in your bed all night. But the next day you have to wake up, you have to wear your smile, and you have to again set back to work with the same level of confidence which was the night before. So you cannot just give up, you cannot make your excuses.
You just cannot let a particular setback take the best of you.
Because it would eventually come, it would come across every time. And
it's a process, it's a process.
And if you grind through it, that will be the point where you're going to beat the majority of the people, where you're going to make a mark for yourself. And next thing is कि guidance बहुत important होता है आपकी इस entire journey में, because guidance बहुत crucial role play करेगा आप in future क्या rank score करते हैं, आपका कैसा performance रहता है. So I personally recommend Legalight join करिए. Legalight के courses बहुत flexible, बहुत student friendly है. You can blindly trust your mentors. There's a lot of personal touch, personal communication, जो according to me, I don't think हर जगह available होता है. So it's a big boon if you can take advantage of it. And yeah, last but not the least, law is a very promising field. It has unlimited scope. It's indeed a growing field in India, but it's definitely worth it.
It has endless possibilities.
Yeah, so all the best.
So इस वीडियो के सारे व्यूअर से मैं अर्ज करना चाहता हूँ कि इस बार नाम पे नहीं काम पे जाइए. और अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो आप इस वीडियो को लाइक कीजिए, अपने फ्रेंड्स में शेयर कीजिए और हमारे इस चैनल को आप सब्सक्राइब कीजिए. किसी भी इन्फॉर्मेशन के लिए आप नीचे कॉन्टैक्ट दिया हुआ है सारी चीज़ों का. आप हमें किसी भी वक्त किसी भी क्वेरी से रिलेटेड, एडमिशन से रिलेटेड हम लोग को कभी भी आप कॉल कर सकते हैं. सारा डिटेल्स जो है वो डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में दिया हुआ है. थैंक यू एवरीवन, थैंक यू वेरी मच, बाय बाय.